Good afternoon everyone. Today we are going to discuss the current affairs for mains, for those who are writing mains this year 2020, and today we will be taking up some of the topics of international relations. This year, because of the pandemic, almost 6-7 months, nothing much has happened in this arena of international relations as per your syllabus. As per the syllabus, if you see, nothing much has happened, but yes, whatever has happened, we are going to discuss about that. And what I have thought is, what we will do is, we will first see the syllabus, and if you see the question papers, previous year question papers 2013 onwards, and you will find that most of the questions that we are getting in the mains are based on current, and in some of the questions they are asking you kind of a little bit about its past also. So wherever required in any of the topics, so we will also try to go into a little bit of past as well wherever it is required, because basically the class is for current affairs, so we will be mainly focusing on the current. And if you see the questions are what is happening around the world and how it is impacting India. Most of the questions, except for some of the questions like UNESCO funding or some of the questions related to international institutions, it is not directly they are asking how it is impacting India, but otherwise almost all the questions, in all the questions, the essence is this has happened, how it is going to impact India, or this is what is like India or some other country, we are having a very good relation, how it is going to impact India. If there is a deterioration in the relationship, it is going to impact India, how it is going to impact India. So we will keep our current affairs as close as to the demand of the examination. And what I have thought is, we will discuss the things, and first we will discuss about what has happened, and then we will try to analyze it. And on some of the topics, even I have tried to form a question, and based on that question we will try to cover almost the current of that particular topic. So to begin with, I will just read out the syllabus. Very quickly read out the syllabus, as you people are writing mains, so you are quite aware about the syllabus, but still let me read the syllabus. First line is India and its neighborhood relations, and every year they are asking you almost questions from India and neighborhood relations. Then bilateral, regional and global groupings and agreements involving India and or affecting India's interest. Effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests. Indian diaspora and important international institutions, agencies and fora, their structure and mandate. So this is the 4 points are given in the syllabus. So let us begin with the very first point, that is your India and neighborhood relations. So what we will do is, we will take the countries one by one and we will see what has happened in the past 1 year or 1.5 years, which is relevant for mains this time. So let us begin with our favorite country, that is Pakistan. So if you see, because of the pandemic, nothing much has happened, which is because of the pandemic, nothing much has happened. So we will be only focusing on the things which are very, very important from our mains perspective. So if you see what has happened in Pakistan, or what is the current situation in Pakistan. So in Pakistan, if you see, what is relevant for us is FATF. It is still in the grey list. FATF, so it is there. Then there is civil protests in Pakistan, civil protests that are happening in Pakistan. And then another thing is, the very recent, like 3-4 days back it has happened, is provisional province status to Gilgit and Baltistan. These are some of the important issues which could be related to India. So FATF, what has happened? Again, Pakistan is in the grey list of FATF, and what does it mean when it is in the grey list? It means like again how it is going to impact Pakistan and how it is going to have some kind of a direct or indirect impact on India. So FATF, Pakistan is in the grey list, so it is going to impact Pakistan because fundings have been reduced. Pakistan economy is already slowing down, and because of pandemic it has further slowed down. Then it is losing its credibility. It cannot go for more of your funds from international organizations. Its rating has come down. So overall, being in FATF, it shows that it is going to put a lot of pressure on already coming down of your Pakistan economy. And then it is also like again FATF, it is also kind of a victory for India because India has been talking about terror financing, terror funding by Pakistan, and again it is in the grey list. So this shows that what India is saying is true. That's why it has been kept under FATF grey list. And because of being in FATF, because of the economic slowdown there and further aggravated by COVID, we have seen that the people in Pakistan are also raising voice against the current government. Because of this, there is a lot of unemployment, there is a lot of hunger and poverty which is there in Pakistan. So FATF, Pakistan is there in grey list. Now civil protests. Civil protest, the trigger this time has been, there has been a rape incident in Pakistan which has triggered the protest, but otherwise because of the economic slowdown, because of your unemployment and because of corruption, there was a civil unrest which was boiling up, and finally that rape incident has given a kind of a vent to the civil unrest there. Now what has happened? For the first time, 11 political parties in Pakistan, they have come together and they have formed a kind of a coalition or alliance by the name of PDM, that is Pakistan's Democratic Movement. They have formed an alliance. 11 political parties, for the first time, they are raising their voices against the present government, and this also includes your Benazir Bhutto's party. Pakistan's Muslim League is also there. Pakistan's People's Party is also there. So all the major political parties, opposition political parties, they have formed an alliance, and they are also raising voices against the army, because we have seen that Mr. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, has always been saying that Pakistan Army and our government are on the same page. So for the first time, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, the ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan, he has said that the army is acting as a state above the state. Army is acting as the state above the state. This is what Mr. Nawaz Sharif has commented. And state above the state is something what we have also been always talking about, that there is a deeper state in Pakistan. There is a state above state, means dominance of army is there. So the political leaders are now openly talking about it. And Nawaz Sharif, he is from Punjab province, where we have seen that in Pakistan army, a lot of people are from your Punjab province, and the leader of the stature of Nawaz Sharif, he is openly accusing the army for being state above state, is a very, very important thing. And on top of it, this coalition or this alliance of 11 political parties, they are also having Maulana Fazlur Rahman. Maulana Fazlur Rahman, he is made the leader of this PDM. So why this Maulana Fazlur Rahman? He is a well-known right-wing, hardline right-wing leader in Pakistan. So that is also giving a kind of a voice, and he is bringing in the Baluch people. So it shows that even the hardline right-wing leaders are now raising their voices against your Pakistan army and the Pakistan government. So this is a very important movement, or this is a very important political crisis that is going on in Pakistan. And the rallies, this PDM has been staging rallies across Pakistan, and they have the schedule till December. So it means the protests are going on and on. People are raising their voice against the Imran Khan government. They are saying that it is a puppet government and this government has to be removed from power. This is the first time when the opposition parties are coming together along with someone who is a right-wing hardliner, who is the face of this PDM coalition, and they are demanding, they are raising the voice against the sitting legitimate government in Pakistan. So this is very important because now we are seeing that the military, this shows that the military is somewhere now being targeted by the common people. So this is very important, and this is a good news when people are, this is a good news for India, because we always have been talking about deep state. We have always been talking about the upper hand of the Pakistan military in Pakistan political affairs. So now that the people are also, the people of Pakistan are raising their voices against the army, so this is a very good sign for us. And why I am talking about this civil protest, what we have to do with this civil protest, it is happening in Pakistan. But now, listen to the question which UPSC has asked in 2013. 2013 there have been protests in Bangladesh, and UPSC has asked that question. So there might be a chance where UPSC could ask about the civil protests in Pakistan and its impact on India. I am going to read out the question that was asked in 2013. The question that was asked in 2013 was, the protest in Shahbag Square in Dhaka in Bangladesh. That's a question in 2013, UPSC question. The protest in Shahbag Square in Dhaka in Bangladesh reveal a fundamental split in society between the nationalist and Islamic forces. What is its significance for India? So, based on this, I have tried to frame a question. The question could be, there have been some recent protests in Pakistan. There have been some recent protests in Pakistan to oust the incumbent government, indicating a severe political crisis. There have been some protests in Pakistan to oust the incumbent government, indicating a political crisis. What is its significance for India? So it's not like just we are talking because we have to talk about it, something what is happening in current. Because UPSC has been asking you the politics and policies of the developed and developing countries and its impact on India. So the politics of Bangladesh 2013, they have asked about Shahbag Square. So they might ask you about civil unrest and how it is going to impact India. So this is a good sign for India, where people of Pakistan are raising the voices against the present government, and for the first time even people are openly speaking against the army there. They are saying it's a state above state, or the government is the puppet in the hands of the army. So this is a positive news for India. Now, another thing which has happened and which is of importance to us is provisional province status to Gilgit and Baltistan. 1st of November is celebrated as a Gilgit-Baltistan National Day in Pakistan, and on 1st of November this year, Mr. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, has announced that they are going to give the provisional province status to Gilgit and Baltistan. So now let us talk about little bit about this facts about this Gilgit and Baltistan, and then we will see how it is going to impact India. So Pakistan has 4 provinces. 4 provinces are your Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is there, Baluchistan is there, Punjab is there, and Sindh is there. So it has 4 provinces, and now it has made it as a, currently it is a provisional status which has been given. It is not a proper province it has been declared, but initially to begin with it has given a provisional province status to Gilgit and Baltistan. So what has been the status of Gilgit and Baltistan before? See, before 1971, it was, the whole area was called POK, but after 1971, it has been divided into POK, that is a Pak occupied Kashmir, and Gilgit Baltistan. POK has its own constitution, it has its own prime minister, they have their own flag, but this Gilgit Baltistan does not have the similar things. So what was it having? Before 2009, this was called as, Gilgit Baltistan was called as northern areas, and after 2009 it is called as Gilgit and Baltistan. When it was northern areas, it was just a self-governance unit, and in 2009 there was a legislative assembly with very limited power, mainly your advisory kind of a role was given to this assembly. Though it has 24 elected members and 9 nominated ones, but overall control was in the hands of the Pakistan Prime Minister. So it was given a status of assembly in 2009. So Gilgit and Baltistan. Then what has happened in 2018? This is the area from where your CPEC corridor is passing. That is your China-Pakistan Economic Corridor under your BRI, Belt and Road Initiative of China. So Pakistan government has brought certain changes here, and it has further brought in more centralization of this region. It has, so that it could have control over the land and the resources here. So that in 2018 it has brought a law, and it has changed the law, and it has made the limited powers which were given to Gilgit and Baltistan assembly, it has further centralized those powers, so that land and resources would be directly in the hands of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, because China's CPEC corridor is passing through it, and China wants to have a strong grip over this region. So in 2019, the Supreme Court of Pakistan has passed an order repealing what the government of Pakistan has done in 2018. So it has repealed what the Pakistan government has done, and it has asked the Pakistan government to bring governance reforms in this region. So governance reforms की बात की है उन्होंने, और उन्होंने कहा कि यहाँ पे elections कराओ. So last elections which were done in Gilgit and Baltistan, it was 2015. So the elections were due in July 2020, but because of the pandemic, elections could not happen there. So we have to see if elections happen in Gilgit and Baltistan, so what would be the status of this provisional province? So whether it is going to continue even after the elections, or it is just till your elections are there. So nothing is clear till now. So this is what is the status of your Gilgit Baltistan. Now Pakistan has given it a provisional province status. What does it mean when it is like a provisional province? Means now the people in this particular area, this particular region, they were deprived of certain constitutional rights. So once it is given a provisional province status, so now they will be getting certain constitutional rights. Gilgit Baltistan would be getting certain constitutional rights, and it would be getting the representation in the upper and the lower houses of Pakistan. So that is one thing. Now, how are the people in Gilgit Baltistan taking this decision? People in the Gilgit Baltistan, some of them are demonstrating against the decision, but the majority of the people are accepting this, they are welcoming this thing. Why they are welcoming? Because since it has not been given certain rights because of this uncertain kind of a position, so now they think that once it becomes a province of Pakistan, so they would be getting more better governance, they would be expecting better governments, better governance, better rights in this region. And moreover this is a Shia dominated region. यहाँ पे जो population है mainly आपकी Shia population है, and they do not have much of a ethnic connect with the people of Kashmir. Kashmiri language भी यहाँ नहीं बोली जाती है, so they are not having a very like ethnic connect with the people in Kashmir. So it is a mixed kind of a reaction there by the people in Gilgit and Baltistan. Now why Pakistan has given it a provisional province status? Why it has given? Why? Now why का जो है, there are different aspects related to this why. One is like the announcement came just after when Saudi Arabia, who is going to preside over the G20 meeting this year, जो G20 का summit है उसका presidency जो है इस बार Saudi Arabia के पास है, and Saudi Arabia when it has come up with the map of Pakistan, उसमें उन्होंने Gilgit Baltistan and POK, it has deleted it from the map of Pakistan. तो ये जो है it has kind of a aggression in Pakistan ki how can Saudi Arabia take away these portions from our map. So that is one thing, and the immediate trigger was this, and Pakistan immediately announced the provisional province status to Gilgit and Baltistan. Second thing could be it is like some of the critics or some of the people or experts are saying that it is a kind of a revenge to what we have done, the abrogation of Article 370. They are saying when you can change the status and you can abrogate Article 370, why we cannot bring changes on our side. So it's a kind of a quid pro quo for the abrogation of Article 370. But the deeper reasons are that China wants to have a greater grip around India. That is what it is doing if you see other countries, and here also this Gilgit Baltistan region from where its CPEC passes, जहाँ पे इसने आपका 65 billion से ज़्यादा का investment किया हुआ है. So China wants to have a stronger grip over this area, and this is the only area which is giving a physical connectivity between Pakistan and China. So strategically this region is a very important for China as well, and Pakistan also wants that it should be in a very closer proximity, easy connectivity with China. तो इसको जो है यहाँ पे अपना grip को उसने और strong किया है. So this is something that is people are saying कि G20 वाले summit के चलते जो सऊदी अरेबिया ने अपना मैप से इनको हटा दिया है, तो that has also triggered, that has given a trigger to what Pakistan has been planning to do. And Pakistan or it is like after abrogation of 370, this was what the Pakistan is taking a kind of a revenge against India. But the deeper thing is that China wants to have a deeper control over these areas. So it has, and China has been asking Pakistan to make it a province ever since it has initiated its CPEC corridor project here. And now the question is how it is going to impact India. As we have already discussed that this is a strategically very important area. So when an area is having such a huge strategic importance, it is going to have lots of implication. When China and Pakistan, if they are getting closer at a place which is passing, according to us, this is our area. So when in our area, China and Pakistan is having a stronger grip, this is going to create a lot of problems to India in future. And then there would be chances that across your LOC and LAC, जो already LAC में problems चल रही है, यहाँ पे जो है LOC के पास भी अगर इस type की problems आ जाएंगी, so there might be a chance of your two-front war, and this is what China wants कि India को जो है squeeze करना है हर तरफ से. So strategically it will have a wider, deeper implications for India, and that is why India has raised its concern that this is something which is not accepted by India. To give a provisional province status to Gilgit and Baltistan. So these are some of the things which have happened in the current and which are directly or indirectly having implications on India. So this is about your Pakistan, current issues of Pakistan. Now let us talk about what is happening in Afghanistan. So if you see about Afghanistan, we have seen that for the last 1.5 years, Afghanistan has been in news because of your peace process, because of the US announcing the withdrawal of its army, army from Afghanistan. And Afghanistan peace process has been in the news. There have been various rounds of talks. Doha में आपकी जो है intra-Afghan peace process चल रही है. There has been a deal signed between Afghanistan, Taliban and USA with respect to this peace process in Afghanistan. So many things have been in the news, and USA has deployed a special envoy for this peace process, Mr. Zalmay, who has come to India also many times for this peace process. So because of this peace process, Afghanistan has been in news, and India has been talking about not participating, and then now India is giving its green signal to this peace process. So because of all these things, Afghanistan has been in news. So one thing which has been in the news is the peace process. Second thing is, if you see recently what has happened is, Afghanistan mein, which is important for India's stand on peace process, that is important. Then recently 6+2+1 conference was held, where India was not invited. This was under the aegis of United Nations. So India was not invited, and very recently Abdullah, who is the chairman of Pakistan Reconciliation Commission right now, Abdullah visited India. So if you see in tits and bits, there are so many things which has happened with respect to Afghanistan. So let us briefly discuss these things and try to join the dots and see what kind of question might come from India and Afghanistan. So Afghanistan में peace process जो है आपके 1-1.5 साल से it has been in the news, and what has been India's stand from the very beginning? India's stand had been that initially India's stand was that we are not going to talk to Taliban. According to India, there is no good or bad Taliban. Taliban is Taliban, and we are not going to negotiate with any of the terrorist organizations. So that was India's stand from the very beginning. But over the period of time, it has been seen that yes, now there is no other alternative, but in Afghanistan the new government would be Taliban dominated, or Taliban is going to form the new government there, and US has now finally thought of removing itself from the scenario, and the new incumbent government which would be there in Taliban, which would be there in Afghanistan, would be dominated by Taliban. So this is something, a very pragmatic thing India has done, is like now seeing the ground realities. Finally, India has decided that India would be getting involved, not directly, but yes, slowly India is getting involved in the peace process. Because if India does not get involved, then India is giving everything on platter to Pakistan, to China. They do not want India to play a role. Pakistan never wants India to play a role in Afghanistan. It wants to maintain its strategic depth in Afghanistan. And moreover, even China does not want that India should be a regional player. So if we keep ourselves secluded, they would never invite us. So practical and the pragmatic approach is कि when we know that the Taliban is going to form the government in Afghanistan, or the government would be dominated by Taliban in Afghanistan, there is no point keeping ourselves away from it, because we have to deal with Taliban. And if we are not dealing with the Taliban government there might be chances that attacks against India would increase, especially in Kashmir. So one of the reasons of your abrogation of Article 370, immediate abrogation of Article 370, external reasons was that this geopolitics is changing in Afghanistan. So anyways, now India has changed its stand. But since the very beginning, India has been talking about that any peace process in Afghanistan should be Afghan-led, Afghan-owned and Afghan-controlled. The peace process should be Afghan-led, Afghan-owned, Afghan-controlled. ठीक है, ये हमारा एजेंडा शुरू से रहा है. एंड now the peace process between USA and Taliban, Afghanistan Taliban, India was not participating initially, because India was saying that peace process is like your US led, Taliban owned and controlled peace process. So India was keeping itself away from it. And then the changing ground realities, India has now initiated to participate in the peace process. Last time it has sent its retired bureaucrats when the discussions were happening in Russia. This time in the month of September, for the first time, जो आपका intra-Afghan talks चल रही हैं दोहा में, that particular meeting was addressed, online meeting was addressed by Mr. S. Jaishankar, our foreign minister. For the first time, he has addressed that intra-Afghan summit also. So these things are some positive developments. Now 6+2+1 conference. What was this 6+2+1? It is a UN Secretariat meeting. It happened in the month of April 2020. 6+2, 6 are the neighbors of Afghanistan, 2 is your US and Russia, and 1 is Afghanistan. So 6 neighbors, Afghanistan, and this is your US and Russia. So the meeting was called by US Secretariat, meeting was there, and India was not invited in the meeting. Why India was not invited? India is not considered as a neighbor. They did not consider India as a neighbor because they are saying we do not have a direct border, like we do not share the direct border. So that is why they said ki invite nahi kiya. But there are other reasons also which many of the experts are saying that because since the very beginning India has been talking about like we want to keep a distance with Taliban, we are not going to talk to Taliban. So that might be one of the reasons. And then Pakistan does not want that India should play a role in this peace process, or India should play any kind of a positive role in Afghanistan's development peace process. So that might have been the reasons. Or we have been very close to Mr. Ashraf Ghani, and we were not very close to Mr. Abdullah and Abdullah. So there have been a kind of we have been standing with Mr. Ashraf Ghani, and we were not very close to Mr. Abdullah. So he might have also talked about not allowing India to participate. So there might be any reasons why India was not invited. But yes, officially it was said that India does not share a direct boundary with Afghanistan, so India was not invited. But then in the month of September this year, 2020, here April 20, India was not invited, and then September 20, Mr. S. Shankar, he addressed the intra-Afghan peace process talks that were happening in Doha. So this is a positive sign. Now, Mr. Abdullah has also very recently he has visited India. Initially, he was not pro-India, but now we are seeing that Mr. Abdullah, who is the chairman of the Afghanistan Peace Process Development Council, I'll name it, chairman of Afghanistan's High Council for National Reconciliation. So he has visited India. He is a Pushtun leader, and another very important Pushtun leader has visited India. And for the first time during the COVID period, our Prime Minister was not meeting any of the foreign dignitaries, but he met Mr. Abdullah. This shows a sign of getting closer to Afghanistan peace process. So during COVID times, किसी से नहीं मिल रहे थे प्रधानमंत्री, पर ये आए तो इनसे मिले. So that is of huge significance for India. Now, these are the things which has happened in tits and bits, and then now we will try to link the things. और क्या हुआ अफगानिस्तान में? Afghanistan में another positive thing that has happened is the Taliban spokesperson has clearly stated that once they come to power, they would be making laws so that any foreign terrorist organization would not use the land, the Afghanistan land, to target any of the countries. So that is something which is very positive statement from your Afghanistan spokesperson, Taliban spokesperson, because this is what is worrying India, ki if this Taliban comes to power in Afghanistan, so the attacks against India might increase. Second thing, they have said that it wants to have a very friendly relationship with all the neighboring countries of Afghanistan, including India. So that is also something which is a positive sign shown by Taliban towards India. And third, and the very important point which was spoken by the spokesperson of Taliban was Kashmir is an internal issue between India and Pakistan. We do not have any linkage to that. So that is also something very positive which has happened. So the 3 points, that they are going to have a friendly relationship, they would not allow their soil to be used to target other countries, and then third thing is Kashmir is a internal issue. Kashmir is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan. We have no concern about this. So these are some of the positive steps which have been shown by Taliban. Now the question is, why is Taliban speaking such language? See, this time when the Taliban would come to power, there has been a lot of criticism about Taliban government when it was there in 1996, when it was there in Afghanistan. So now when the Taliban government, Taliban will come again to the power, so it will have to show that no, it is a changed Taliban. It is the government which is understanding the needs of the hour, and it wants to have the global support also. Though we cannot say that completely we cannot depend on or we cannot trust Taliban government, but yes, somewhat it would be not as rigid or as stringent as what it was in 1996, because now it is going to have a peace process. Different countries are also supporting the peace process. UN has arranged this secretariat meeting. So this shows that ki is time ka jo Taliban hoga, it would be a little different from what it was in 1996. And moreover, Taliban government would also want that the people of Afghanistan should have trust on this. तो ट्रस्ट कैसे होगा अगर गवर्नमेंट जो है डेवलपमेंट के लिए काम करेगी. सो इफ तालिबान कम्स टू पावर इन पाकिस्तान, सो इट वुड ऑल्सो डेफिनेटली वर्क फ्रॉम इकोनॉमिक, इट विल वर्क फॉर द इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट देयर, एंड फॉर दैट इट ऑल्सो नीड्स छाबार, इट ऑल्सो नीड्स इंडियाज डेवलपमेंट रोल इन अफगानिस्तान. सो दैट इज वाई इट वुड नॉट बी completely against India. And moreover, Pakistan, if you talk about Pakistan, Pakistan's name is not, though Pakistan, it is said that Pakistan is playing a very, very important role in the peace process, but nowhere Pakistan's signature is there in the peace process. So it shows that for Taliban, Pakistan is not that important right now. And if you see the Pakistan economy, it is also dwindling, it is also coming down. And then even like your Saudi Arabia and some of the Islamic countries are also not favoring Pakistan right now. They are getting very closer to Israel. So the thing is, we have to see the changing realities and we have to have a very pragmatic approach. We cannot say that no, we do not trust the Taliban government. We have to, because governments work on give and take. Taliban government also wants development, it also wants Chabahar, it also wants so many development projects, connectivity projects, and it wants that the people of Afghanistan should accept this government. So it would work for development, so we should be very positive about it, and that's why, though we have to be very careful, but we cannot completely not trust Afghanistan. We have to understand the practical realities, and based on that we have to take very pragmatic decisions, and this is what India is doing right now. And that is why Mr. S. Jaishankar has also participated, then Mr. Abdullah has also visited India, because they want India to play a role. And then, has India, there might be a question, has India moved away from its stand of Afghanistan-led, Afghanistan-owned or Afghanistan-controlled peace process? No, India has not moved away from its stand of Afghanistan-led, Afghanistan-owned or Afghanistan-controlled peace process. These are the lines which were used again by Mr. S. Jaishankar when he was addressing the Doha intra-Afghan peace talks. He said that India still believes in this Afghanistan-led, owned and controlled peace process. So what does India mean? And India has clearly mentioned it also. What does it mean by Afghanistan-led, Afghanistan-owned and Afghanistan-controlled? So India has clearly said that it means that Afghanistan owned and controlled and led, the peace process should the peace process should be initiated by the legitimate government of Afghanistan, and it should include all the sections of Afghanistan. It should be a very inclusive peace process. All the sections means the sections like your legitimate government there, Taliban is another section there in Afghanistan, civil society organizations are there. So everyone should play a role in bringing peace in Afghanistan. Then it has also clearly mentioned that any peace process should respect the democratic values and human rights, including the rights of children, including the rights of women in Afghanistan. So India is very clear that it has to be controlled and owned. तो अगर आप अपने peace process को own कर रहे हो, तो it has to be as per your democratic values, and it should respect human rights, including the rights of women, because any kind of unrest there would percolate down directly or indirectly into India. So the India is very clear about it. And third thing, India has also clearly said that any peace process should not leave any of the ungoverned spaces where terrorists and their proxies can relocate and attack on other countries. So India is very much clear about, India is saying that we believe in this Afghan-led, Afghan-owned, Afghan-controlled, and for this we mean that it should include all your sections of the society. It should respect democratic values, human rights and other rights of the people of Afghanistan, and then the peace process should be in such a detail that it should not leave anything or any chance so that the terrorist organization, it becomes a hotbed for terrorism again. So that is what is India's stand. So this is what is like India's stand, and this has happened in the past 1.5 years. Peace process, 6+2+1, India was not invited, but then Mr. Jaishankar addressed the intra-Afghan peace process. Abdullah came to India. Even the Taliban spokesperson has shown positivity by saying that Kashmir is a matter of between India and Pakistan, and they want to have friendly relationship with every country, including India. So that is something that has happened. A positive thing has happened between India and Afghanistan. And in the meantime, we have been giving training to Afghan forces. We have been doing development work there. हमारे 400 से ज़्यादा development projects are going on in Afghanistan. So, and peace process में भी now we are participating. Even their chairman who is there for Afghanistan reconciliation peace process के जो chairman हैं आपके Abdullah, now he has also come to India for the first time, and he has appreciated India's efforts in the development of Afghanistan. So everything is, this is showing a positive sign. So there might be a question like India's engagement after US exit must build on its resonating vision of a stable and plural Afghanistan. Discuss. India's engagement after US exit must build on its resonating vision of a stable and plural Afghanistan. Discuss. So, keeping these things in mind, plural Afghanistan means India has clearly said that it wants that all the sections of the Afghanistan should be involved in the peace process. It should not be only Taliban, it should not only be the government there, legitimate government there, but all the sections should be involved. So you have to think based on these the current events that are there. Now what should India do? What should India do is like we should continue with what we are doing. Development efforts could be there. Then we can also appoint a special envoy for Afghanistan who would be talking to some of the sections of Taliban, and at the same time who would be putting up the points of India, or who would be putting up the mind of India on the various global platforms about this peace process. What is India's point of view? He can put, because we have to focus on Afghanistan, so we can appoint a special envoy like US has done. Mr. Khalil Zalmay was appointed. Similarly, we can also appoint a special envoy. We then in the meantime, we can continue training the Afghan forces. Okay, when we are talking about training Afghan forces, there were another things which were in the news, that should India put its boots on the ground in Afghanistan, means should we play a more offensive role. हम जो है अभी अगर US अपनी forces withdraw कर रहा है, तो क्या इंडिया को अपनी forces अफगानिस्तान में लेके जानी चाहिए? So this is something is like should we put more boots on the ground in Afghanistan? Again, we have to analyze this. If we put more boots on the ground in Afghanistan, that is going to further deteriorate the situation. अगर हमारी आर्मी, अगर हम अपनी forces अफगानिस्तान में अगर वैक्यूम जो क्रिएट हो रहा है US के forces के जाने के बाद, हम अगर अपनी forces वहाँ पे लेके जाते हैं, तो this is not a practical decision, because after all, after so many years, finally US को भी अपनी forces हटानी पड़ी, because economically it's not feasible, and then you cannot let your countrymen die there. And then for India, अगर हमारी forces वहाँ होती हैं, तो nexus Pakistan-China nexus against India would increase many-fold, and then attacks on India in Kashmir especially would increase many-fold. So this is not a wise decision, but yes, what we can do is we can train them, we can help in their development, we can go for manpower development, but yes, we cannot completely say that it's a time for India to fulfill the vacuum created by US. We have to we have to analyze the pros and cons, we have to go for the cost benefit analysis, and it clearly indicates that it is not a very wise decision. So what can India do is, we can keep on participating in the peace process, different stakeholders के साथ बात कर सकते हैं हम, अपना envoy appoint कर सकते हैं, development work को continue कर सकते हैं, and at the same time we can also be in touch with the other players in the region like India and Iran, because Chabahar ka development is very important for development of Afghanistan also. So India, Iran, India, Russia, we can collaborate with the other big players who are participating in the peace process, and if possible with China also we can come together for the development of Afghanistan. So this is something related to your India and Afghanistan and the things which have been in the news, so we have discussed that.